So welcome officially, Susie. Thanks for joining this afternoon session
Welcome, Johnny.
and for that sharing. So let's have a look at our quote for the day, and there's a little bit of teaching, and then we'll go into the lesson. I want to make sure we get through the lesson, so we might just do a couple of paragraphs related to the quote. And then go into the lesson. So I'm just going to share my screen. All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so there's the quote for today. Quite an interesting one, I thought. It's a different take on God, so that's why I included it. So if you want to read that.
I actually love that. I actually really laughed to myself. I should have put a laughing space emoji, but I put a heart on it. But the reality of loving God is loving him like he's a superhero who actually saved you from stuff. That's kind of just hit me when I said superhero. Who actually saved you from stuff rather than a Santa Claus who merely gave you some stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of well put. I find these quotes. I'm like, okay, well that's an interesting perspective. It'll make people think a little bit. So although God is not a person, it's just this awesomely powerful force, like a superhero is in the comics. Superman comes in and swoops in and just has these amazing powers and can actually save people. So the conception of God as really a powerful force that can save you from your darkness and your despair and any negative condition, rather than a God that's like a vending machine. Some people, I pray to God, I want this and I want this, so I place an order with the big man in the sky and I expect it to show up like an Amazon delivery. That's not really how it works at all. But they are still.
That's how they do portray it, don't they? Because I had to really smile because there were so many places when I started working for myself that they'd tell me to set goals or whatever, and it never sat right with me. But then they'd say, act as if Santa's going to bring you all this stuff, and you're thinking. That's why it made me laugh today to think, gosh, I believe that because we do.
Well, it's what the ego wants you to believe, that somehow in this world there's stuff that is valuable, it's desirable, and if you play the game right, people can believe in whatever form of God they believe they want to. You pray hard enough to God, or if you're more new age, you manifest it, you attract it, law of attraction. It's the same thought system. Then you can get this stuff, whatever it is that you desire, material things, money, relationships, experiences, and you can attract all of this, and then you're going to be happier. This is the assumption behind it all. And the truth is that if you set anything up in an external condition, that's now a requirement for your happiness. It's never going to work. That's never going to make you happy. You're always going to be craving or desiring it and never actually experiencing the deep peace of God that passes all understanding. So this quote again points to the idea, well, that peace, this really awesome awareness that's in your own mind will save you from all of your dysfunction if you allow it to.
So what do you call your superhero? What do you call it? Your superhero? Because I'm just buzzing on this, because if you only were taught this at school, that you've got that superhero within yourself and that's the only relationship you want, gosh, that's awesome, isn't it? You'd have so many people that are so much happier, wouldn't you? Instead of chasing this happiness, they'd know that there's nothing that can phase it.
Yeah, well, it's a pure formless awareness of perfect love. I quite like that.
Mm,
The I am presence is a sense of, I know that I am. Um, Simplest term is probably love. It's a
yeah,
presence in you that's, if I go there, if I go into that presence, then everything's okay. Whatever the seeming drama that's happening, everything's okay.
I think I'm going to start writing about this every day then, because I've got a name which
Mm,
came up to me in COVID, but I didn't think nothing of it. But the more and more I go there, it's giving me ideas. But it's called the Silent Warrior, So I think that's
ah,
profound because because it's in the stillness and it's, oh
mm,
yeah. So yeah, I kind of like that. I
yeah.
used I used it for a bit, but I'm
Mm,
not out there at the minute, so it's not bothering me because I need
mm,
to focus on me and
mm.
what's happening.
Or use, the words are just a pointer.
Oh yeah,
They
oh yeah.
point you to a deeper insight into something. So if the silent warrior helps you to connect with this deeper presence, then use it. Why not? It's just
Mm,
a word to point you to an experience.
mm.
The good words should point you directly and quickly to the experience that they point to. So that's why we translate words. God, for a lot of people, is not a good pointer.
Mm.
So, okay, translate God into pure formless awareness of perfect love, or if you prefer, presence, loving presence, or loving awareness, or use a pointer that kind of brings that awareness into your mind.
I do, but I think with this coming up today, I just thought it was great, and I just think that I guess I'm just thinking on a collective. If you did something like that, people wouldn't even know because they don't, they don't, do they?
Mm,
But if they had that kind of form and they knew it was a superhero
mm,
and knew it was themselves, and that's the only relationship you need,
mm.
gosh, you know. And
Yeah.
like you said, it is an experience, and this is what I like. I don't like things set up. I have to just do it when I want to do it, or I have to. And I watch myself, but it's good.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just being. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, well, the idea of these quotes and messages is to give you these pointers. So you get a quote, and then it just makes you think about it in a different way, and hopefully connect with the presence. Go, okay, well,
Mm,
that's an interesting way of looking at it. So there's another angle. God is more like a superhero, this awesome power that's going to save you, rather than some power that's going to give you stuff to
mm,
pander to your ego.
mm.
So yeah, if you want to read, just read a couple of paragraphs of this. So you want to read the first paragraph in
In
today's
today,
inspirational quote.
in today's inspirational quote, Christopher Gilbert, pen name Chrissy Jammy, a 34-year-old musician and author of several books, poems, and articles on philosophy, points out that God is not like Santa Claus, whom we should be asking for material gifts, but more like a superhero that can and will save us from apparent dangers and disaster. We all stopped believing in Father Christmas when we were about 7 years old. So why do some people continue childishly believing that they can pray in God like he was Santa and expect that he will hear and answer their prayers for anything material?
Yeah. So it's a common misconception. Prayer is about asking for stuff. Oh God, please, please help me with this. Please help me with this. I need a solution to this. At the extreme of it, you would pray for some kind of financial abundance. Say, well, will God bring me money? And that is to really almost deny blaspheme the presence. This powerful presence that somebody wants to awaken you. Doesn't want to give you more stuff. That's not really going to help you. Just acquiring more material stuff, or even having what your ego would consider nice experiences in this world. it's about connecting very deeply with itself. It's saying, the only thing I want to give you is myself. This awareness of this presence that's within you. So, that true prayer is a communion. True prayer is being silent. I like as you said, the silent warrior as a name for God. It's just being silent, and in that silence, listening. That's true prayer. It's not saying I want, I need. It's silencing that voice of I want and I need, and saying, no, I am as I am. I am that I am, and I merge in the silence into this presence, and I just commune. True prayer is communion with God. So it's an awareness of this presence that arises in the prayer or meditation in our minds. And in that awareness, greater awareness of it, there's abundance. This is the source of all abundance. That feeling of being connected to our source is infinite and eternal. It's a sense of an expansive awareness. And now that awareness, if you have that at your foundation, might cause you to think and speak and act in certain ways that then create material abundance in your life. Maybe not. You don't necessarily know. It doesn't really matter, because the material abundance is secondary. The primary thing is connecting with that presence and letting that presence come into you fully and guide your life. And material abundance or whatever shows up on the level of form is a secondary. It's a consequence. But the primary thing is to feel that presence in your own mind, and that's really all that matters. So at the highest level of mastery, when you get to a level of a Jesus or Yeshua or Buddha, there's no real desire for anything material. I don't really focus on anything material. I have the abundance of God within me, and that's enough, and that abundance will sort out everything.
I wouldn't say, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was a feeling though. You'd have a knowing, wouldn't you? Because a feeling is like, this is where people get if you think about feelings, and only because of what I've just recently gone through, I think you can have that emotional addiction, which is all about feelings. So I think when you get to that place of superhero or God or pure awareness of love, it's a knowing, and that's stronger than just the feeling and everything, because people can get quite confused, can't they? It's just that knowing, and we're being remembered here. You're reminding us constantly, that we already know this. So it's a deeper knowing that even I choose to believe at the minute, because I'm still practicing, but I know the knowing is there.
Yeah, well, it starts with knowing. Before knowledge, you start with belief. You start with changing beliefs. You start changing your perceptions. So you don't fully know the truth, maybe yet, but there's a rising belief in you. There's a strengthening belief, something strengthening. And so this is how perception eventually translates to knowledge. Perception is about the world of beliefs. A belief can be this or it can be that. There's options or possibilities for alternatives. You may vacillate sometimes. You believe and then you get tested and you don't believe as much anymore. You can doubt. So this is all part of the journey back. In the end, it's leading to knowledge, which simply is you know God. You know that as your own deepest awareness, and it cannot be shaken. That presence is invulnerable, is invincible, and simply cannot be moved. So that's we practice and we practice so that becomes stronger in our minds, and ultimately knowledge arises. We move from belief and perception to knowledge, where we simply know that this is true, and nothing can really shake our belief, our faith in that. So it goes belief, faith, and then eventually knowing. At the highest level, you simply know God. There's no need for faith or belief anymore. You simply know that as your own deepest awareness. And that's, the level of full enlightenment. I am. Yeshua said, I am one with the Father. The Father is one with me. And I am one with you as well. So it's the claiming of that I am presence, saying I am that. And when you fully know it, fully experience it, that's an enlightened state, which will lead you beyond this world. Because from that state, there's no need to come back into a world of separation. If you truly know that this presence is there and it's your true awareness, there's no need for separation anymore. You're done with it. And nothing in the world of form can blind you and obscure the truth anymore. Whereas, this quote, do you want to read that? See how the body's eyes rest, is talking about a state of mind where we're not enlightened, we're disconnected, and the ego's using the externals to perpetuate that disconnection.
I was just thinking, though, that when you use words like enlightenment and that's what I think people start seeking and searching for. And all I'm just saying that when, like a lot of stuff that you say, you're being guided to something that you already knew. And I think that just stops that seeking, that searching for something.
Yeah, if you know the truth, there's no need to seek anymore, because you know it. You already have it.
Yeah.
That's why yesterday I changed it was I want the peace of God was the lesson, the original lesson. And in the translation, I changed it to I have the peace of perfect love. Because it's a claiming of it. It's saying I'm not wanting anymore. I have it. I experience it now. It's much more present. So if you experience that peace, you don't want anything, because you already have that peace. You already have everything you want. You recognize that everything is in that peace. So desire and craving just drop away. It's nothing to want. If you have the peace of God, what else could you want? Is there anything really outside of that you could want? So it's all of this practice is a deepening experience into actually experiencing this, knowing the truth, rather than seeking it, desiring it, believing it, having faith in it. It's ultimately to get to the knowing. I am that, and I absolutely know that. There's no doubt in my mind that I am this presence. I am this loving awareness. I am the pure, formless awareness of perfect love. And there's really nothing else. There's no other awareness remaining. I don't desire anything else other than this, singular awareness. Because I've realized, through my process of undoing the ego, that really the ego's alternative is valueless and meaningless. It doesn't really offer me anything, and I can no longer be fooled by the external. So, do you want to read the quote?
Okay. Thanks for that, Johnny. See how the body's eyes rest on externals and cannot go beyond. Watch how they stop at nothingness and able to go beyond the form to meaning. Nothing so blinding as perception of form, for sight of form means understanding has been obscured.
Oh, so what is he saying there?
I kind of get it in my own head, but sometimes explaining it and saying it out loud, but it's saying there's more beyond the eyes. It's not just what you see, and we make that mistake, don't we? We just like to see things. And then it is our perception that fades what it is. Just as you keep saying, when you're repeating a pure form awareness of love, it's great because it reminds you that there's more than what we think. You know, how our perception is distorted at times because we want to believe that perception and not move away from it. But then again, it's like beliefs, like you said.
Yeah, well, belief, nothing so blinding as perception of form. So, you know, on the level of form, it's this what Yeshua is saying is this is a setup. You know, we've been set up by the ego to have so-called perceptions in this world. So we perceive an external world outside of us. You know, it's part of the setup of separation. And this is why he says nothing so blinding as perception of form, because we perceive a form to be outside of ourselves, and that blinds us to the truth that really there's only this pure formless awareness of perfect love. That awareness is the only truth. And so now through the perceptions, the perception of some kind of external reality, all kinds of thoughts and emotions that are not love are justified. Thank you. That are not love are seemingly justified. So I had this, you know, profound experience. I think I shared it with you in the Vipassana meditation after 9 days of silent meditation, and it really showed me in that few moments. It was really just a minute or two. You know, the absolute truth of this awareness, which I'd experienced. I experienced it for just pure formless awareness. That's all I could describe it as, for a minute or two. I don't know how long it was. There's no sense of time. I don't think it was for very long. And then, you know, I came back into some kind of thinking, and then the Holy Spirit, it was like downloading this whole course, and it told me very clearly. It said, well, look, this is what you've done. You've pulled over the world is a cover over pure formless awareness. And the world just justifies all of the thoughts and emotions that seem to deny this awareness. And that's what's really going on here. It's a veil of illusion, a self-perpetuating system designed to cover this over and stop you from experiencing it. So hence, you know, Yeshua says, nothing so blinding as perception of form.
What was coming to me then, which I've got,
seems to justify all of these negative thoughts and emotions that cover over, blind you to the awareness of pure formless awareness of perfect love. So perception of form and attachment to form. You know, we're still going to perceive, even if you're fully enlightened, you're still going to have the sense perceptions going on, but you're not going to make them real in your mind. You're not going to allow them to be the catalyst for all kinds of thoughts and emotions that don't come from pure formless awareness. That's the difference between an enlightened being and someone who's not. They just interpret their experience, their sensory perceptions very differently. So they can no longer be swayed by form. They no longer desire it. They no longer fear it. They recognize that it's just an illusion. It's really nothing. And they are rooted in their true presence, the pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it's worth remembering. I actually sent this out at Christmas, which is why it's got a Christmas theme. But it's useful to look at it, because Christ, you know, in Christmas is the word Christ. And so we can learn, you know, from a festival like Christmas, which seems to have been hijacked by the ego. There's all this, you know, materialization of Christmas going on. Festival that focuses on giving material gifts, consuming copious amounts of food and alcohol. That's really what Christmas has become. And this has been, you know, the ego's hijacked this festival. So instead of it it being a true celebration of the birth of Christ, which is the true identity that we all share, the one self, the true self, that unites our mind with the pure formless awareness of perfect love. And so a genuinely spiritual occasion where it was, marked with, not with the material presents and gifts and lots of food. It was much more deeply spiritual. It's about connecting with your source, and it's about connecting with others in that presence. The ego's kind of hijacked it and made it into something that it wasn't really intended to be. A celebration of the Christ identity, really a celebration of the realization of Christ identity in the world. So Yeshua symbolized someone who's come into that awareness. He's been born into the world. He's accepted that he is the Christ fully, and he now brings that presence into the world. And he becomes the savior, the awakener of the world. That's really what Christmas, should be about. So really recognizing that same presence in yourself, because his only mission, his only message was to remind you of who you really are. Remind you that you are also the Christ, and that this presence is born in you again, and this presence will undo the ego entirely. So all of the ego's desires and addictions and all the stuff that is actually often pandered to in Christmas. If you like food and alcohol, and Christmas is a great season to strengthen that. So it's just worth remembering. Okay, I am this presence always, and the perception of form and attachment to form cannot really blind me to my true self. So this Christ self, this true presence in you, is the presence that will save you from all the sin, the guilt, fear, attack, sickness, and death that the ego's invented, and these superhero powers that Yeshua had. The power to really change people's minds, to work miracles. The Bible records many pretty extraordinary things that he did. It came from the presence. All came from the presence. So this loving presence not only leads to an inner experience of love, peace, happiness, gratitude, but it also can lead to changes on the level of form. So if you look at the integral model again, primarily what we're trying to do is change the individual interior. So this is the domain of our intentions, what we value, our feelings, motivations. And that change, if we really do it deeply, can lead to changes on the level of form, of behavior, observed behaviors, performance outcomes. So there's two aspects of the miracle. The first primary aspect is the internal aspect. You have the miracle, the change in your own mind, connecting with this presence more deeply, really feeling the love and the peace and the joy. So that's an inner experience. And then as a consequence of that, your behavior and observed outcomes, you might not necessarily do anything, and things just kind of show up for you in the dream. So that would be an exterior miracle. If something shows you that the internal shift, has had effect, and that's we call it exterior or external aspect miracle. Now, a lot of people believe the miracle is only here. So Jesus turned water into wine, and he healed the sick, and he raised the dead. They go, oh well, let's focus on that rather than on the inner experience. So he was changing his own mind and other people's minds profoundly for those kinds of effects to show up on the level of form. They were consequences of this profound inner shift rather than being the miracle themselves. So they're the external aspect of the miracle, driven by the internal shift in your own mind. Okay, and so yeah, you never know when you really open up to this presence. You just never know when an inspired idea that can completely rock your world can really open you up to something entirely new insights, new experiences, new ideas. I get most of my best ideas for things like business and how to solve problems in this world in meditation, when I'm just clear and empty and open. You create this space for something else to drop in. So just following this ideal spiritual schedule, that I put together in this Art of Letting Go program, and doing the meditations twice a day, and doing as many breath breaks as you can in the day, attending the live discussions, doing an end of day reflection. So it's all down here. I don't know if you've dived into this, but
yeah, I do look into that. But I think it was really good as a reminder to do it every.
So at any point in the day, you can dive in there and say, okay, what should I? Oh, there's a breath break. Oh, okay, this is happening. In the mornings, I was reminded of this myself because this is just standard part of every email, so don't pay too much attention to it. But someone new recently joined, a lady called Julie. She's doing the free trial. She said, well, I've been listening to this the last 3 mornings, this guided theta meditation. And she said, it's profound. It's really, really helped her to connect to the peace, to, just improve her energy levels. She said she'd had, some difficulties with chronic fatigue and these, problems. And the meditation, really helped her. So I'm just bringing it to the fore, and anyone listening to the recording, that meditation is a great great to re-energize, refresh, just start resetting, because it's an hour. It's really a deep dive reset into.
Yeah, I do like them myself. I do the hour, and I also have done the half an hour one, because I think they are really great, because you never know what's going off.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're picking up, and it's good just to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, all good. So try and stick to the schedule as much as you can. And I put out a challenge there. Try and follow it. We've got 3 weeks left of August, and as close as you can for the next 3 weeks. If you're taking a bit of downtime, from work, because a lot of people do take a holiday, then try and replace it with spiritual practice. And then there's also the retreat. So that's an immersion experience. If you can take 5 days off, 6 days actually, and just be willing to immerse yourself into this field, transformational field of really doing a lot of spiritual practices, a lot of transformational work over the 6 days, 5 nights. That's another way, doing an intensive immersion and removing yourself. A lot of people struggle in their home environment because there's distractions. Whereas on a retreat, there's no distractions. We remove all of those for you because you're in a different physical location. So that's the benefit of doing something like a retreat. Okay, so any questions, thoughts, comments on any of this? I've just sort of skimmed through it because
that's okay.
What's been happening is we read this and then we don't have time for the lesson, and I don't want that to happen. So we've got about an hour and a half for the lesson, and then we'll go into about 20 minutes, and we'll do a meditation. Okay.
I like superhero. Just every time you say superhero, something's happening. So just go.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad that worked for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so to today's lesson, which is salvation or awakening, is.
Oh gosh, I got all that to myself.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
13 paragraphs. Here we go.
Wow. I'm going to get tested today because normally somebody's here to help me out, but wow.
Well, I'll help you. So,
yeah. I have got, I've done well because I have actually written the, what's it? So I thought I best get this out today because I don't want to get, it is what it is, but here we go.
You've written what?
That, like the way you've changed the words, you shared them on one of the lessons, and like the main words that we used, like God, Son of God, so that I know that when you're doing these, I'm a bit more on the ball, so I can tell you, oh yes, that's awakening, oh yes, that's pure awareness, So
okay. Well, you'll be pleased to know I've actually done some translation for you.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I had a bit of time, so I just did that. Yeah, so read if you read the main idea and then the alternative, read the main paragraph, and then we'll go into the alternative.
Okay.
So,
Awake. Okay. Do you want me to read the salvation or just awakening?
Yeah. No, read the original and then read the alternative.
Okay, so the original salvation of the world depends on me. Awakening of the world depends on me.
Yeah. So we changed
I
salvation.
definitely like that. Yeah, I definitely like that.
We like the awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's more descriptive of what's actually happening. We say save the world. I think a lot of people, what does that actually mean? What does it mean to save the world? Does that mean you're going to save it on the level of form? You're going to improve people's, lives in the world. You're going to create material abundance for people. You're going to save them from poverty. What does it actually mean? Whereas if you say awaken the world, okay, so now you're talking about spiritual awakening. Directly points to a shift in the mind. So it's again a good pointer, pointing you to a change on the level of mind, not on the level of form.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, if you read number 1.
Here is the statement that will one day take all arrogance away from every mind. Here is the thought of true humility, which holds no function as your own, but that which has been given you. It offers your acceptance of a part assigned to you without insisting on another role. It does not judge your proper role. It but acknowledges the will of God is done on earth as well as heaven. It unites all wills on earth in heaven's plan to save the world, restoring it to heaven's peace.
Okay. So let's translate it and then unpack it as we go. So just line by line, if you have any questions, comments, fire away.
Here is a statement that will one day take all arrogance away from every mind. Love that. Here is the thought of true humility, humility which holds no function as your own, but that which has been given you. Get that. It offers your acceptance of a part assigned to you without insisting on another role. It does not judge your proper role. It but acknowledges the will of pure formless awareness of perfect love is done on earth as well as the state of pure formless awareness.
Yeah, okay, so let's just look at this. So acknowledges so will we translate as awareness, actually, it's pure formless awareness. So I'm going to take that out. So it only acknowledges instead of but. It only acknowledges the pure formless awareness. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is done on earth. Is, how about instead of done, is present. Because an awareness is not really done. See, it just is. So the will of God being done, we translate to the awareness is present. So,
I like that. I like what you've written. What just tips me up a little bit is when you use pure formless awareness of perfect love, and it's twice in one sentence. That just, but probably it's the way I've done things, or I wouldn't use.
Well, we can change it. I did to do this was a copy, replace.
Yeah.
And then we just edit it and clean it up. So
Yeah.
then heaven is the state of pure formless awareness. So it only acknowledges pure formless awareness of perfect love is present on earth as well as in the state, in the perfect. So heaven is the perfect state of pure formless awareness. So it's another domain. It's another dimension.
I would have said I would have put as well as in the perfect. I guess I would have took those three words out and just put space of pure formless awareness. Or do you think state of?
The perfect space of pure formless awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, space can be again misinterpreted because space and time. Space is usually associated with space in a physical sense. So, as in the perfect state, this is what your heaven is. It's not somewhere. It's a state of mind, a state of being, where you are in this state of pure formless awareness.
But using presence, it's all space. That's what was coming to my mind. But it's okay. I get what you're saying, and I get why you're doing it, as well as in the perfect state of pure. Yeah.
Yeah, we just try and keep it. So this is the translations. The heaven is the state of pure formless awareness. So we try and keep that consistent through the. So people are okay. Well, there's a consistency to it.
Do you think people will actually go back to thinking, "Oh, I'll just stick to God because it's easier"?
Well, when this project is done, the entire course will be translated in this form. So there'll be the original, and then there'll be an alternative. So if you prefer the original, read the original if that works for you. If you prefer the alternative. But I think in the translation and reading an alternative, it does make you think a little bit more deeply about that paragraph.
But that's a really good idea, because when I've picked it up and read things, it's like, and you can go off all your day and not even get what you're doing. So the alternative is fantastic to have both choices, because I guess the person that I am, I'd probably want to read both and then,
Well, you see, and reading of the both, there's learning and there's understanding, because you read the one and then you translate it. It's like, oh, okay, so that's what that means, and then
it gets you to realize that you don't have to just follow a perception that you've believed in your head for so long, because you've got two different ones here. Yeah, that's good.
Gives you an alternative view, and so there should be more learning and more, hopefully a deeper experience of what's being pointed to. So the words really become more meaningful in terms of pointing you to, to an experience. So, it acknowledges pure formless awareness of perfect love is present on earth, as well as in the perfect state of pure formless awareness. So it's here on earth in this domain, as well as here. It's because it's everywhere. This is what he's saying. Okay, and then you want to continue with number 6.
It unites all wills on earth in the state of pure formless awareness. Awareness is planned to save the world, restoring it to the state of pure formless awareness. Awareness is peace.
Yeah, so I think what we need to change here, because this is heaven's plan. So let's, it's too much pure formless awareness. So the exception, I sometimes change the terms because it doesn't work in that context. You've got, too many pure formless awarenesses going on. So it unites all worlds on earth in perfect love's plan to save the world. So what do you think save the world should be translated as?
Awaken the world.
Yeah, well done.
Oh,
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Salvation or saving is really awakening. So you're not saying, because the ego can misinterpret saving the world as trying to do something on the level of form to improve the world. To awaken the world is to awaken the minds that think they're in the world from the dream of the world and free them. So it's to leave the world behind. That's what saving the world really means. You're going to awaken everyone from the world and save them from the world. Not save the world, save them from the world.
Yes, yeah.
So to awaken the world, restoring it to the state of pure formless awareness as peace. Right. Restoring it to the again needs a bit of creative translation. I think restoring it to the peace of pure formless awareness is nice. What do you think?
Yeah, it unites all wills on earth in perfect love's plan to awaken the world, restoring it to the peace. Yes, peace of pure formless awareness.
Okay. So, do you want to read it from the top? Let's just make sure it makes sense. And
here is the statement that will one day take all arrogance away from every mind. Here is the thought of true humility, which holds no function as your own, but that which has been given you. It offers you acceptance of a part assigned to you without insisting on another role. It does not judge your proper role. It only acknowledges pure formless awareness of perfect love is present on earth as well as in the perfect state of pure formless awareness. It unites all wills on earth in perfect love's plan to awaken the world, restoring it to the peace of pure formless awareness.
yeah. So, any thoughts on that?
No, I love that. I just think sometimes I don't get a hiccup. I just think sometimes it's so much into pure formless awareness and then seeing it again and again. But it's good because it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's awakening the world to the truth.
Yeah, or if the words are pointing you to the state themselves. So if you repeat them a couple of times in the sentence, hopefully that's a pointer for the mind just to start experiencing more of that awareness.
Yeah.
Just say pure formless awareness of perfect love. Pure formless awareness of perfect love. Just say it a couple of times aloud to yourself and see what that does.
I've actually do a recording and listen to it every night before I go to bed.
Okay.
So because I think it's very good to do that. I find some music on the which is, I don't know, just some nice music. Is it 532 hertz or something, or 432 or something like that? And then I just use my voice and repeat it because I know I've had to do a lot of stuff because I know what my mind can be like. So it's good to listen to it.
So that takes you in. The more you repeat it.
Yeah.
Pure formless awareness of perfect love. I am pure formless awareness of perfect love. I am pure formless awareness of perfect love. Just say it a couple of times now and see what happens. Say it aloud.
I am pure formless awareness of perfect love. I am pure formless awareness of perfect love. I am pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Yeah.
I never noticed that before, that I'm getting a dip in my stomach and a real, it's weird, isn't it? Making me do that now is making me realize that it's within you, and that I could feel this smile coming across my face because it just, it's alive and it's here. It's with me now. And that's so nice. Thank you, Jono.
Yeah, which is exactly what he's saying. It's present on earth as well as in this perfect state. So heaven is not somewhere removed from you.
No.
It's, right here, right now, in your experience. It can arise, even though you still have a seemingly a body, you're still seemingly present on earth. So it's trying to make it very, very real in your experience, right here, right now. Okay, so if you had that, then that's the whole point of the paragraph, to experience that. So let's move on to number 2. So if you read the original in black.
Let us not fight our function. We did not establish it. It is not our idea. The means are given us by which it will be perfectly accomplished. All that we are asked to do is to accept our part in genuine humility and not deny with self-deceiving arrogance that we are worthy. What is given us to do, we have the strength to do. Our minds are suited perfectly to take the part assigned to us by one who knows us well.
Okay, so not too much to translate there, but let's read it again.
I think there was, yeah.
Read it again. Let's see if there's anything.
Let us not fight our function. We did not establish it. It is not our idea. The means are given us by which it will be perfectly accomplished. All that we are asked to do is to accept our part in genuine humility and not deny with self-deceiving arrogance that we are worthy. What is given us to do, we have the strength to do. Our minds are suited perfectly to take the part assigned to us by the one who knows us well.
Our minds are suited perfectly to take the part assigned to us by one who knows us well. So the one who knows us well is this presence of love. I keep
saying superhero in my head.
Yeah.
Unless that's the ego, but it's super.
So we could translate that.
Our mind is suited.
Leave it. Signed to us by
pure perfect love, yeah.
Yeah, by one who knows us well, by so this is the Holy Spirit he's talking about, the one, by the remembrance of perfect love, which knows us well. Okay, so what is he saying in that paragraph?
There's no need to fight, is there? You're just remembering who you are.
Not deny with self-deceiving arrogance that we are worthy.
Yeah, I like
that.
So
many people feel unworthy. The unworthiness in the name your game process we do as part of the Art of Letting Go course, which you'll do at some point if you stick with the program or you do the retreat. Everyone's issue is they feel unworthy.
Yeah, that's true.
Unworthy of love. And this is self-deceiving arrogance. Because you're saying I'm unworthy of my source, which is arrogant in the extreme. When your source has given you everything and you then claim that you're unworthy, what could be more arrogant than that? You're saying, no, I know better than my source. I'm in charge and I've judged myself as not worthy of these gifts. So that's arrogance.
So he is reminding you that you are worthy. Don't forget who you are, perfect love.
And from that state of worthiness, if you really feel worthy, what is given us to do, you must have the strength to do. You feel like, this is your task. and you've got to go and do this on the level of form. You have the strength to do it because fundamentally you're worthy of the task. We run into trouble where we go, I'm unworthy, and then we have all kinds of self-esteem issues, and then we don't want to show up and do what we're called to do because we're worried that we'll fail. We're worried that people will judge us because we're not worthy. And that's so that the doing comes from the being. We accept our true worth, and then we can be in flow, and we can do things in this flow state. It's really quite an extraordinary state of mind to be in, a miraculous state of mind, because it leads to miracles. In the flow state, you are acting. You're acting in an inspired way, but you're in the world, the domain of action. You're not just sitting and being. You're actually flowing in the action of life, the activity of life.
So that's so true, because so many are so busy. I noticed with myself as well that the activity that I'm busy in is in my head, nothing else. If I'm going back and forth, so he's clearly reminding you. Yeah.
So being precedes doing. To look at this again, integral model. Our beingness is primary, and then from our beingness in the exterior domain, we do things. But it's inside out. The beingness is inspiring the doing. So we then have the strength to do what it is we're called to do. Whereas if we're unsure of ourselves and we don't have, we think we're unworthy, and we're looking for some kind of validation in the exterior. And so we want people to like us. We want people to approve of us, and we do things to get their approval, which makes us very vulnerable to actually not having that approval. So once the ego's got us nicely into that game, then it says, okay, well, now we're going to give you rejection. We're going to abandon you. And that's going to seemingly confirm that your thought system of separation that led to the exterior creation of the exterior world, miscreation of the exterior domains, it's part of the illusion, is true. It'll tell you that all of this is true. So, whereas the flow state is simply saying you connect with this, your source, you know that, and then act in that way. So in my own experience, like last week, I was doing some talks, and it just kind of came. This is what I was called to do. So that's just came. It's not particularly rehearsed. I had some idea of what I was going to say, but it just flows out from your beingness. You don't have to rehearse it, have a script. Okay, this is, I know what I want to say, and then it just comes out, which is what he's saying here. If we're rooted in our true selves, then we will have a strength to do, and we will just naturally do whatever it is we're called to do.
I always thought of being a narrator, and you've just reminded me, I don't really narrate, but I've been doing it for you when I come on these sessions, because I'm narrating it and reading it out. And I thought, wow, I didn't see it that way before. I thought you'd be somewhere, I don't know, gallivanting somewhere doing it, but this is just as simple as saying that you're narrating something.
Yeah. So it doesn't always take the form. There's nothing glamorous about it.
No.
But you're doing it, and it's an expression of your being. So you're given from your beingness, you're given the strength to do it, and there's no doubt coming from a deeper part of your mind. Then there's no room for doubt or worry or any of the self-investment. So a lot of people, if they to use my previous example, if they're public speaking, get very self-conscious, and they're worried about will people judge me, and so they're not speaking from their authentic self. They're speaking from the ego that's trying to present an image and to be liked and not to be judged and rejected. And then you can pick that up very clearly. Someone is not genuine, it comes through in their delivery and their demeanor, and for those with spiritual discernment, something would just not ring true about the presentation. So yeah, that's just an experience that demonstrates that. Okay, so comments, questions on this?
No, fine.
Okay, can you give a summary of it quickly? What's he saying in the paragraph in a 30-second summary?
Seconds. 30 seconds, I'm sure. It's remember who you are. Just remember you are perfect love. There's no need for anything else, is there? And that arrogance is that we're not worthy, but you are worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a reminder.
Arrogance to deny the worth that God has given you. Because you're saying what has been created or extended eternally worthy as the extension of this amazing presence that's true and is the only thing of any worth is now the extension is now unworthy. How can that be? It's actually so when you believe in your unworthiness, that's the ultimate blasphemy. It's the arrogant blasphemy of the ego, saying I'm not worthy.
And that's how it gets you all the time if you think about it. And you're right, worthiness is a huge, huge issue. Yeah,
that's primarily what gets you, and in this world it's the issue. Behind every form of mental and physical disease, I'd argue, is a feeling of unworthiness. And so if you feel you're unworthy, then
you need to have billboards with your name on it and remember who you are and put your tag at the bottom of it, because this would really help them. I tell you that now.
Yeah. So I am love, is the statement of your true worth. And to deny that is arrogant. To deny that you are the extension of this loving presence is a blasphemy, and it's arrogant. So when you beat yourself up and you say I'm unworthy, you're being arrogant in the extreme, because you're denying the truth of who you are as you were created to be, extended to be by this ultimate source.
Yeah, but I can see why you repeat things, because I've been in that place that you're on about. I've got patterns of that where you beat yourself up because you didn't believe in anything else. You didn't take it on board. So, I think it just comes to you at the right time, or it may have been coming, but you weren't listening. You weren't aware of it. You weren't paying attention. And it's all about what you're paying attention to. And even people will be reading this and probably not even take it on board anyway, because like you said, you've got to see things quite a few times. You've got to keep it, and it depends how they're taking this practice.
Yeah, and it's a very deep level of awareness that you're going to. So what we facilitate in the Art of Letting Go course and in the retreat is a process to really see this, so you can see your unworthiness. You can name your game, we call it. You can really bring it into conscious awareness, maybe for the first time in your life, and really see it. And that's not a pleasant experience. It can be quite painful to really see, this core belief that's really at the root of all of your problems. But once you've seen it, you've exposed it, then you can let it go, and you can, what we call, flip your flop. Your flop is your fundamental life operating program, or this core belief. So you can flip it around, and then you discover your essence identity. This is the only way you're going to discover your essence identity. You have to challenge the ego that has been used to cover it over, and allow this essence identity, your true self, the Christ self. It's all just names for the same presence. Allow that to arise more and more. in your mind, and that transformation from the identifying with the false belief of the ego that you're unworthy to the true self, which by definition feels that it's worthy because it's connected to its source. So kind of crazy that we have to do this work, but it's just because we've done the opposite. We've done the crazy thing of denying our true self and denying our worth, that we now have to reverse the process. And it seems to be, oh, well, you have to do a process to discover your true worth. But actually, our true worth is given to us. It always was true.
It's that conditioning, isn't it? It's that conditioned mind that just, oh, wow. Yeah. It's so great when you hear things like you're remembering who you are, because this is where you see people that are getting really mad with themselves and beating themselves up, thinking they're not who they are. They're who they think they are, but you can't. Yeah. Oh.
Judging themselves on the level of form. So, I'll share an experience I had yesterday. So I was traveling, and I had a meeting set up in London, and I had to, catch a train from Luton Airport into London. The guys, I said, look, I'll probably be a little bit late. We'd set it for 2:30. I said, I'll probably be there by 3 because, but the flight was delayed half an hour, and then walking through the baggage reclaim, I just missed it. I missed the baggage, and so I ended up through the doors, and the doors are closed. And I couldn't go back. I tried to go back. It's like, no, sorry, you can't. There's only one-way traffic allowed. So then I had to go to the airline and say, well, can you get my bag? So I've got like a wait while this is happening. Of course, the ego is using this to try and juice the situation. Go, you idiot! Like, what did you like? Why didn't you just pay attention? You could be on a bus now. And the guy, I said to him, look, I'm just a little delay. And then he said, oh, well, sorry, we've only got till 4:15. So I'm going, like you have this tendency based on form to then beat yourself up. This is what that's actually denying your true worth. So it happens subtly. We don't.
I know, yeah.
Well, now I'm just going to beat myself up and deny my worth. It happens because of a trigger. And then you do this, and you have self-recrimination and self-blame, and that's really denying your true worth. Based on apparently the situation. So I'm going, you idiot, like why didn't you just get your bag, and how could you have missed that? But then you stop yourself. You've got to stop yourself because you're not an idiot. The truth is that it was just a mistake. It's just quite easy to make on the level of form. And all of that, beating yourself up is not helpful at all. That's denying your true worth, which is arrogance and blasphemy. And so it's just like a correction. Okay, so I was like, all right, just quiet the mind, bring to mind the lesson of the day. And I just did a little breath break while I was standing there, and I let it. And I just felt like, okay, I'm okay now. Whatever happens, it's going to be okay. And then within 30 seconds, the lady arrives with my bag. So simple, So, but it was like I needed to do the letting go and get the lesson, a reminder. For that to happen. It's just interesting that it happened exactly when I'd let go, because before that I was like just feeling I wasn't at peace. I was feeling inturbulated, and I'm like, okay, well, can I do something? And actually I just needed to wait. Okay, she's doing her thing. I can't really do anything. I've just got to just wait and be at peace. So that's an example of how we beat ourselves up. Not obvious, oh, I'm beating myself up here and I'm actually denying my Christ identity, but that's what you're doing based on the trigger of that situation where your mind judges that you were less than perfect and you messed it up and you made a mistake, and then it judges you for it, and so now you get sin and guilt arising, and none of that is helpful. It's not ever going to make you happy, and it achieves nothing. That mental emotional turbulation was not going to make the bag come any quicker. But it's interesting how the ego can get a hold.
Yeah.
And then you've got to really, it's like doing a practice is essential because you've got to shift it. I was just standing there, and that wasn't enough. Just to I was aware of it, but that wasn't enough. Awareness wasn't enough. I actually had to do the practice and go, okay, I'm actually going to bring the lesson to mind. I'm going to do some breathing, consciously let it go. And, you know, a couple of minutes of that practice was enough to then drop it. So that's why the spiritual practice is so important, because it's where the rubber meets the road. It's actually how you do this, how you let go of the ego when it's, you know, comes calling and is trying to get your allegiance.
But like you said, it's so subtle sometimes. And then you can beat yourself up because you weren't paying attention or not alert, but you are going to make these mistakes and it's going to be okay. For me, I take a breathe. I think I feel really lucky that I do. I breathe. Well, we all breathe, don't we? But I always ask myself, is that true? And just, you know, just move on. But sometimes I've not done that. So it's really great to pinpoint this because it's a practice. Yeah. You have to practice.
And the key thing is in those moments where you're getting tempted is to remember the practice and go, okay, so this is exactly when I need to practice. This is what these breath breaks and the lessons are designed for, exactly this kind of situation where you're being tempted, the ego is doing its thing, and then in that moment you bring it in, you practice, and you let it go. And that's the miracle. When you do that, there's a miracle that happens. So it's just the awareness to remember to do it when you guys need it, because actually that's when the ego is trying to convince you that you don't need it.
Yeah.
Just get you caught up in the drama and forget about the practice. So it's the awareness, okay, well, just do this, just practice. You've got the practice. So the more you practice, the more likely you are to do that, because it becomes an ingrained habit. So, okay, I'm in a bit of trouble here mentally, emotionally, maybe on the level of form, things aren't going so well. Okay, practice. Do the practice. So you turn to that. And that's now you're turning through your practice to the strength of God. This power of pure formless awareness, the superhero within you. You're calling upon that through the practice to help you in that specific situation. So it's getting into the habit. The more you do it, the more, habitually, okay, well, I need to do the breath break, for instance. I'm in a bit of distress here. Okay, just do it. Whereas if you're not in the habit of practicing it, then you probably won't remember to do it, and then there's no way out. Maybe eventually.
I guess realizing that sometimes the awareness does help you, because sometimes I sit in places and I'm aware of a pattern or something, and I kind of smile to myself and think, all right, I didn't see that before. Do you know what I mean? Because you're just not oblivious to it all. I'd rather be aware rather than talk, to be fair. I don't, so, and then I noticed myself kicking in and just thinking, wow, that's a pattern. I wonder how long I've had that. And do you know what I mean? But they can come quick and fast. And like you said, it's that subtle blow that you get when you think, and then all of a sudden you're like tested. You are tested for something. You think, well, okay, I know what to do, rather than just give yourself a hard time.
Yeah. So the more you practice in the good times, so if you're not being triggered and you practice every hour, let's say, as Yeshua recommends you do, when you're in a more difficult situation where it's not as easy to remember, then you're more likely to use it then. So, training prepares you for the tough times when it's difficult, and then, okay, I'm just so rooted in my practice that I go to the practice and I do it kind of by default. So that's the idea behind this program, is to help you to do that. So in your moments of temptation, of distress, you have you can have that awareness to go, yeah, okay, I'll do this. And that will shift it. Almost certainly, if you spend a few minutes doing an authentic spiritual practice, it's going to ease it, whatever it is that you're struggling with. Okay, so moving on to number 3. Today's idea, I think let's just translate as we go. I'm just aware of time, we've got an hour. So today's idea may seem quite sobering.
Today's idea may seem quite sobering until you see its meaning. All it says is that your source will remember you and offers you the perfect trust. He holds in you who are its extension.
Okay, let's just translate that. So Father is source, still remembers you and offers you the perfect trust it holds. So it's someone said to me, Julia said, oh, what a, the language, just getting beyond the he's, the masculine.
Oh,
Yeah, it was big thing for, because God is not a he or a she.
yeah.
She is equally false.
Mm.
Well, you're just making the same mistake, just in the opposite polarity. Actually, God is an it. It's neutral. There is no gender. It's beyond the duality of gender. Offers you the perfect trust it holds in you, who are its extension. So your source remembers you. This presence in you is still in you, and it has perfect trust in you. It knows that it is your true awareness. You are its extension, so its awareness is your awareness, and it cannot doubt that. So this offers you the trust and the certainty, this presence that you might feel like you're lacking. Okay?
Yes, it does not ask that you be different in any way from what you are. What could humility request but this? And what could arrogance deny but this? Today we will not shrink from our assignment on the specious ground.
Specious means false. No.
Specious ground. Probably I need to see false, false grounds.
Oh, let's change it then. Yeah, specious is only
on the false grounds that modesty is outraged. Today we will not shrink from our assignment on the false grounds that modesty is outraged yet. It is pride that would deny the call for pure, formless awareness of perfect love himself. So easy to fall back to sleep, isn't it, Jono? When you've just told me that, and then I just thought, yeah, love himself. I didn't think nothing of it until you put itself.
Yeah, it's pride that would deny the call for pure formless awareness of perfect love itself. So this is pride or arrogance. It says, no, I'm fine. I'll do it my way. I'm going to have my own little kingdom, my own identity, and I'm not going to be one with my source. And I'm going to feel like unworthy of that source. So it's the greatest arrogance. You're saying, oh, well, I'll do it better. Although I was created by God, I deny that. And I now believe in my own self-concept, which is self-created and denies this this pure formless awareness of perfect love is true. Well, there could be nothing more arrogant than the denial of that, what's ultimately true. So unworthiness and feeling like you're an unworthy victim of the world is a blasphemy. That's the blasphemy of forget just words. It's the beliefs that are the blasphemy. You believe that you're unworthy when you are all worthy. You have all power, and you believe you're a victim. This is the blasphemy. You're denying the power of God in doing that. So you deny it in yourself, and then you deny it that it's there at all. So all denial starts with self-denial. Just as all acceptance starts with self-acceptance.
Did you notice that, Jono? Sorry. My computer was making an awful sound. Did you notice it? Oh, did you not? I'd frozen as well. So, yeah. That's it.
Okay, so summary of that. What's that saying to you, that paragraph?
Put your arrogance to one side. Put your pride to one side. Yet we don't, do we?
is making very clear that denying the call for pure formless awareness of perfect love itself is arrogant. And so our task becomes to listen to the call, to accept what we are. You go, well, why is it so hard to accept that we are perfect love, that we're the pure formless awareness of perfect love? I mean, surely that would be a nice thing to accept. You know, you're perfect, you're whole, you're complete, you're totally innocent. Why do we have such resistance to accepting something that's wonderful, that's beautiful? Good question. The only reason is because we've got an insane self-concept that contradicts that. It wants to believe that we are a separate self. And therefore,
isn't it easy just thinking it's a separate self instead of going into your stories and everything else? Because that's what we do. Contemplate on those experiences and stories, and it just pushes you.
Yeah. The story is the denial, as he says, nothing so blinding as perception of form. The story of the character in form is a denial of the true identity of the Christ that you really are. So the more attached you get to the story, the more you deny the pure formless awareness of perfect love that lies beyond the story. The more you deny your Christ self. So, you know, deny the story, deny the character in the story, and you accept the truth of pure formless awareness of perfect love. Must be. You know, that's how it works. Deny the one, you accept the other.
Deny the story and become your superhero.
Yeah. Yeah. Deny the story that you're a powerless victim, that you're unworthy. You must deny that. You cannot accept the ego's identity and also accept your true self, because they contradict each other. So you must make a choice, the fundamental level about who you are. And that's what we're doing with this course. You're making a fundamental choice. Every time you do some spiritual practice, every time you read these lessons, every time you join a discussion, whatever you're doing, you are choosing again, every time, choosing again, saying, yes, this is the truth. And I do not want the story. Okay. So happy with number 3.
Yeah.
So number 4 then. I think there's quite a bit here. So read the original and then we'll read the translation.
Repeat the name of God.
Hang on.
Sorry.
I just realized it's a non sequitur. I haven't copied the full thing. So let's just go grab the correct text from here, because that was yesterday's lesson. I was like, why are we going to name of God again? And I was like, oh, okay. It's because I use a template, you see, and I just change it. Okay, so
you've been so busy and so tired, but you're still on the ball.
Right, well, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I just picked that up. All right, so this one actually doesn't need too much, so we can just do the 6.4. Copy the translation. Okay, so always just look, you know, if you see the numbers are out of alignment because it's numbered. So if you see the lesson isn't the lesson today, then it's like, okay, it's an old. We once did, I think we did a whole paragraph of the wrong one. 6.5. Okay, so there you go. So read all false humility we lay aside today.
All false humility we lay aside today, that we may listen to pure formless awareness of perfect love's voice reveal to us what it would have us do.
Yeah, So I think here it might be better. It's quite long to say pure formless awareness of perfect love's voice. Just say perfect love's voice.
Yeah.
So perfect love's voice revealed to us what
it would have us do.
So perfect love's voice is the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
For the Holy Spirit. Remembrance of this perfect love in your mind that seems to have a voice and it can actually guide us, speak to us. What it would have us do.
We do not doubt our adequacy for the function he will offer us. We will be certain only that it knows our strengths, our wisdom, and our holiness. And if it deems us worthy, so we are. It is but arrogance that judges us otherwise.
And it knows our strengths, our wisdom, and our holiness. So holiness is, I'm impressed with you. What's the translation for holiness?
Let's have a look. Where did I put it? Why have I not got holiness on it? Ego, projection, perception, body, atonement, Holy Spirit.
No, well, forget your crib notes. Just
oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
just go within and just go. Okay, so what would what would holiness be as a translation?
Truth.
No, yes, but it's I'll give you a tip. It's an awareness. So what is holiness? It's another name for it.
Awaken.
Well, we just had pure. It's the pure formless awareness. That's what holiness is.
I was going to say
is,
awareness again, but I was confusing myself then.
Yeah, it's an awareness. It's pure formless. Holiness is the holy, whole awareness. It's pure formless awareness. It's holiness.
I did go straight to my notes because this throws me a bit. But that one's not there, I'm afraid, holiness. But I must remember that.
Well, it's in. I've sent out the glossary of terms, so it'll be in.
Yes, I know it'll be on that one. But you did say you sent also something that was just the most, most ones that we.
Yeah, in one of the emails.
Yeah.
Thanks, our wisdom. So holiness is this pure formless awareness. That's all it is. So a lot of people are like, what does holiness really mean? It's your own awareness. That's what it means. It means a pure formless awareness. You're not attached to form anymore. It's just this awareness in your mind. And now this awareness can translate into thoughts and feelings on this level. So your holiness then guides you into different thoughts and feelings that changes your experience of any situation, changes your perception of any situation. And if you change your perception, then you'll take different actions, you'll speak differently, act differently, and then your realities change. You're having a different experience in the dream. And it starts with the holiness, the pure formless awareness, which you maintain in your mind at all times. So it doesn't matter what seems to happen and how challenging it is. This holiness, this pure formless awareness is always there. Okay. Next one. And if
it deems us worthy, so we are. It is but arrogance that judges otherwise.
There is only arrogance that judges otherwise. So yeah, we can't. If this presence deems us worthy, then it's our source. So we are. We can't deny that. Only arrogance that judges otherwise. So the ego is fundamentally arrogant because it's denied the ultimate source of everything and said no, that's not true. Instead, I'm true. Instead, the denial is true. It's the ultimate arrogance. And that then judges otherwise. Seems to justify that judgment. Okay, so summary of number 4. What's he saying in summary there?
There's only one thing to be certain of, and that's pure formless awareness of perfect love.
They're saying you are that. You are that. This presence is you, and you will be given all the power and the strength, the adequacy to fulfill your function, whatever that is in the level of form, will come from this awareness. It's only our arrogance that judges it otherwise. And so on a practical level, if you have this, deep self-worth, you can do amazing things, miraculous things. There's no fear. You just show up and you do it. And, there's none of that self-doubting and self-criticism that goes, along with so many people. You just show up and do it. Guided by this presence deeper within you. Okay? Happy with number 4?
Yeah.
So, number 5, let's go straight into the alternative. There's one way.
There is one way, and only one, to be released from the imprisonment your plan to prove the false is true has brought to you. Accept the plan you did not make instead. Judge not your value to it. Pure formless awareness of perfect love's voice assures you that awakening needs your part and that the whole depends on you. Be sure that it is so. The arrogant must cling to words, afraid to go beyond them to experience, which might affront their stance. Yet are the humble free to hear the voice which tells them what they are and what to do. Wow.
Okay. So what was wow for you there?
What goes off, I guess, in my own head has been a huge battle.
Was there an insight that you got there?
What have you done to yourself, Susie? No, it's just this, do not judge. You don't even realize you're doing it, accept the plan you did not make.
Yeah.
It just seems so easy, accept the plan you did not make.
So instead of trying to prove that the false is true, I mean, saying this quite well in that first sentence. There's only one way. Okay, so it's telling us there's only one way here. There's not multiple ways. Only one way to be released from this imprisonment that your plan to prove the false is true has brought to you. So we've tried to make the false true and prove it to ourselves by inventing a world which seems to prove that, yes, it's true. And this has brought us this imprisonment. We now seem to be imprisoned by our own projections. We can't escape these. The world seems to be very imprisoning and very enslaving.
I guess the wow was because I've been trying to prove to myself that no, this isn't true. This is for God knows how many years. And I just think seeing it and reading it out, oh wow. You just know there is one way and only one to be released from.
So it's quite kind of comforting. So look, there's only one way. And whichever path, spiritual path you take, in the end, you have to let go of your ego. You have to let go of the separate self-concept. That's what it comes down to. And only that's going to work. So accept the plan you did not make instead. So this is the plan for awakening, which is called forgiveness, or a letting go in our language. So the only way you're going to do this is to let go of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence that you've invented. Only one way. Well, okay, let me get, what I love about the Course is it's very clear. It's not ambiguous. It's not giving us multiple options. So look, there's one way and one way only. Here's the way. I'm giving it to you directly. Just accept that, and then you can be free very quickly. It's only one way. Okay, if you start applying and doing that, you do that consistently, you will escape. You'll escape the whole dream.
All you have to do is accept that you are pure, formless awareness of perfect love.
Yeah. All you have to do, yeah. But that,
All you have to do.
yeah, but it's a massive, because in that acceptance, you must deny the entire ego's self-concept, and the world is a projection of that self-concept. So you must deny the world and the entire universe. So all I have to do is accept I'm perfect love is a mass for the ego. That's massive. That's
Yeah.
That's the end of it in that acceptance. So it's a complete, in that simple statement, I just have to accept that I'm perfect love is a complete reversal of our existing thought system, of our identity, of the world we know. The reality we know simply will disappear if you truly accept that you're love. There's no reason to have it, to have this seemingly external reality. Okay. So have you read the whole thing? Perfect Love's voice assures you that awakening is your part. All depends on you. Be sure that it is so. Arrogant must cling to words, afraid to go beyond them to experience which might affront their stance. So isn't that interesting? So when people are really dogmatically fixated on their own beliefs, this is what arrogance means. They cling to words. So in dogma, fundamentalist religions, they focus on the words, don't they? And they'll go, oh, this is our word, and only our word for God is true, and everyone else is an unbeliever, and everyone else is, damned to hell, or at the extreme of it, they deserve to be punished, and they'll even try and punish them. But they're focusing on a concept. It's a concept symbolized by a word. As Yeshua says, words are simply symbols twice removed from reality. So this is their defense against the truth. They cling to words, to deny the truth. Okay?
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
I think, like you said, it's that whole, you have to accept it and let let the ego go. But it's also known how you are attached and gripping onto words because the ego's scared shitless. And you're like, no, I'm going to continue with this. But you don't realize that you think you've let go, but you've not let go. I think the letting go is the biggest process. I know it's great practicing it all, but letting go is not as easy as, because you've had so many years of programming and conditioning. So you let go and realize that you are perfect love because you've heard it, you've seen it all. Wow. Yeah.
It's the hardest thing. It's the one thing we need to learn, is to learn to let go. But it's the hardest skill, because in the letting go, you are undoing your self-concept. You're denying who you thought you were. That's why it's hard. You're saying to yourself, when you truly let go, I'm not Susie. I am not this person with this personality, with my history, my story, my body, my special relationships, my stuff that I own. I'm not this person. That's what you're saying to yourself when you truly let go. Which is a major, revolution in your thinking, really. Radical transformation. So that's why the letting go is difficult, because you come up against the self-concept, which doesn't want you to let go. It wants you to hold on and continue using the world to perpetuate your false identity. That you are a separate self. That's the only purpose for the world. Okay, so happy with number 5?
Yeah.
Number 6. Okay. So if you read number 6, just go straight into the translation. Arrogance makes an image.
Arrogance makes an image of yourself that is not real. It is this image which quails and retreats in terror as the voice for pure, formless awareness of perfect love assures you that you have the strength, the wisdom, and the holiness to go beyond all images. You are not weak, as is the image of yourself. You are not ignorant and helpless. Sin cannot tarnish the truth in you, and misery can come not near the holy home of pure, formless awareness of perfect love.
Okay, so a bit of translation there. Holiness.
Was that perfect awareness of, it's the awareness of perfect love.
Yeah, so we translated it as pure formless awareness.
Pure formless awareness.
So pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay, so this ultimate awareness, capitalized, will give you the strength, the wisdom, and the pure formless awareness to go beyond all images. So this is how it translates into your mind. The ultimate awareness now becomes your experience. You experience this pure formless awareness in your own mind, and helps you to go beyond all images. So the images of the world don't fool you anymore. You're not weak as is the image of yourself. Okay, so the self-concept is an image, self-made image of yourself. You know, your self-image, it's false. It's not true. It doesn't really exist. You're not ignorant and helpless. So you're not the victim. That's what he's saying here. And sin cannot tarnish the truth in you. Misery can come not near. Misery cannot come near. The holy home. So holy.
Pure formless awareness.
Well, it's an adjective. So the
awareness. Oh, the
wholly aware.
The holy
so with a WH, wholly aware. Because that's really what holy means. You're wholly aware. So you're aware of the whole. You're aware of the truth. You're aware of pure formless awareness. That's what holy awareness, being wholly aware, means. The wholly aware home of pure formless awareness of perfect love. So the wholly aware home of perfect love. You want to read it from the top.
Arrogance makes an image of yourself that is not real. It is this image which quails and retreats in terror as the voice for pure, formless awareness of perfect love assures you that you have the strength, the wisdom, and the pure, formless awareness to go beyond all images. You are not weak, as in the image of yourself. You are not ignorant and helpless. Sin cannot tarnish the truth in you, and misery cannot come near the wholly aware home of perfect love.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
I feel really, I guess it's something I needed to hear or read. It's really hit me that today. Of how I've always believed. And that's what I was saying earlier about the trauma and that keeps coming up. I obviously believe the image of myself. So yeah, it's really reassuring.
So that past trauma tells you that self-image is true, you see. So that's why the ego is attached to it and keeps bringing up the trauma, because it perpetuates the self-concept that says, no, you're not pure formless awareness of perfect love. You're weak, you're afraid, you're vulnerable, you're a victim, you're really unworthy of love, and so on and so on and so on. Because the trauma, the experience that you had seems to confirm that. And so then you get attached to the story as a way of denying the truth. And as he's saying here, that's just arrogant. To be attached to your own story and think that it's true and deny the truth of who you really are is the ultimate in arrogance. So it makes an image that's not real. Well, thank God he's telling us this image is not true. None of it's true. You're not really weak. You're not really a victim. You're not disempowered and ignorant and helpless. You can't really sin. You can't really suffer or die. Because these things cannot really come near the wholly aware home of perfect love. It transcends them entirely. Okay. So happy with that?
Yeah.
Number 6. Moving swiftly on then to number 7. Just translate directly. So all this, the voice.
All this, the voice of pure formless awareness of perfect love relates to you. And as he speaks, and as it speaks, the image trembles and seeks to attack the threat it does not know, sensing its basic crumble. Let it go. Awakening of the world depends on you and not upon this little pile of dust. What can it tell the holy extension of pure formless awareness of perfect love? Why need to be concerned with it at all? That's very empowering, that is. Because like when you were saying like not victim and whatever, it's amazing how even with us being here, I'm aware, I can sense it all in my head. Do you know what I mean? And yet this is brilliant because we're bringing it to light.
Yeah, as he says, as it speaks, this voice, as it speaks, the voice for pure formless awareness of perfect love, the image trembles and seeks to attack the threat it does not know, sensing its basis crumble. So its whole foundation, basis, its foundation crumble. The ego can only perceive this as an attack on it. And then it gets very nervous and it goes into defense mode. And its best way of defending is attacking. So it'll try and attack you and get you to attack others, to try and counter this threat of your true self.
Gosh, yeah.
And so if you get kind of crazy fear thoughts, attack thoughts going through your mind, Yeah, that's actually a normal part of the awakening process, because the ego is desperate, and so it's got to bring up all this stuff. It's like crazy, and you go, "Am I going mad here?" No, you were already mad. The ego was just subconsciously resident, and the madness wasn't obvious to you. But when you start to push it, which you do when you do this practice, then this kind of madness arises, and you get thoughts and emotions coming up which are just completely crazy, and it can be quite disconcerting. I just remember when I went through like quite a hectic time a few years ago of really awakening to this. It was like, am I going crazy here? What is going on in my mind? I've never had these thoughts before. So this, what's been unleashed, it's all been in the subconscious, and now it's actually coming up into conscious awareness.
It's just that disbelief, because I know what you're saying, because I have plenty of those days. And you're putting in the work, and it's just having that awareness that you're doing the work and this is still coming up. I just think reading it and just, it's like disbelief, isn't it? It's like, wow, it's just like magic. You were meant to see this today, you know? Yeah.
So every day is giving us another lesson to give us another perspective and say, okay, and what's extraordinary is, I mean, there's 365 lessons and each one of them is meaningful. You think surely you'd kind of run out of ways to say it, but I guess he's a genius. So he framed it in a way that every day it's engaging, and it tells you the same truth in a different way. Different words, different imagery. So this lesson is got another take on it, and is powerful in this awakening process to help you. So saying this image, cannot really abide this. It's going to try and sabotage this process. It's going to try and attack you, attack others. It's going to try and make you forget this. It's going to do whatever it takes, whatever it thinks it takes to stop this awakening process, because its entire foundation is crumbling. Its true non-existence is being revealed. So it's desperate. It's got its back to the wall. And so, the ego with its back to the wall can be quite vicious, but then it reveals itself. Because if you see the insanity and the viciousness of it, you go, I can't believe in this anymore. I don't want this. The kind of the covering, the sugar coating of the ego has been removed. You go, this is just really unpleasant, nasty, insane thought system. I do not want any of this. That's when you make that decision. I don't want any of it. I don't want the rotten cake. I don't want the icing. The icing might seem to be nicer, but it's the icing on a rotten cake. The glamour, the glitz, the nice stuff the ego can offer you. It's the icing on a rotten cake. I don't want it. I don't want any of it. I'm willing to just let it all go, really. Then the ego's foundation crumbles.
Is this not how the law of attraction works as well? Sorry to bring that up, but if you've been thinking like this and doing stuff like this and, remembering who you are, your whole belief system is going back to default anyway, because the law of attraction will give you what you're, even if it is, because you've had it for so long and it's kind of been subconscious, you're bringing it up, you're bringing it to light.
Yeah, so I mean, this goes beyond the law. The law of attraction is just a form of the law of oneness in this world. So as you think, so it is. So the law of attraction kind of shows you, okay, look, actually my mind is not separate from the projection. So if I think certain thoughts and I think them repeatedly, these thoughts tend to manifest in form. So it's showing you that your mind is not separate from your experience. Your mind creates your reality, but it's a very weak form of the ultimate truth that you are one mind, you are one awareness, you're just the pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's your true awareness. It's still working on the level of form. It's still related to the world of perception, and it hasn't transcended into the beingness that you are, which is where the course is going, taking you to ultimate beingness, beyond law of attraction, beyond any other law but the law of perfect love, that we are one, right? The law of perfect love is perfect oneness and nothing else. So simple. So no need for devolvement. The law of attraction is a kind of derivative of that, but it's a couple of steps removed. And the danger is with law of attraction, most people misuse it because they're trying to attract something on the level of form in order to make themselves feel better, happier. And as Yeshua says in one of the quotes, nothing so blinding as perception of form. So you focus on form and I want to attract that form, whatever that form may be. What are you doing? You're making the form real and you're making the ego real. So the ego is quite happy. You can play with the law of attraction as under its direction for your entire life and many lifetimes. And it's quite happy for you to do that because you're not actually going to escape the dream. You're going to just reinforce the false self-image and the projection that it's created of this world. And you keep seeking things outside yourself. Well, that keeps you away from the truth of pure formless awareness. And it keeps you in the illusion of a separate self-image that's now got to seek for some kind of satisfaction in the world. So the law of attraction on its own isn't going to free you. It can be a pointer. It's a starting point to a deeper realization of oneness. And so it can be useful. Someone does the law of attraction and they find that it works, but it's a foundation. It's like a stepping stone. Don't get stuck there. Too many people, oh, that's it, I'm now going to master law of attraction, I'm going to keep manifesting, and they don't go beyond that. Well, then the ego's still in charge. I hope that clarifies.
Yeah.
Course in Miracles goes way, way beyond the law of attraction. That's like,
it's all right. Somebody sent me a Ho'oponopono meditation, and in there I can briefly see that it was releasing stuff to do with the law of attraction would be, if you're thinking you're worthless or something, and it's always been there, something like that. But I can remember it coming up. That's why I thought I'd ask, because it's not something I was teaching a load of kids a few years back, and they all kept telling me to watch The Secret, and I wasn't really interested in it. And then when I did see it, I thought, well, they've got that a bit wrong, isn't they? Because it's more about the feeling of stuff, not actually, all these vision boards. But I know people do things, people see things. So, but it was working for the young ones. They, like you said, they're after material stuff.
Well, it's a starting point, but as long as you're still looking for something outside of you, Yeshua actually says, all illness is some form of external searching.
Yeah.
Some form of external searching. You're searching for something outside yourself, in a person, in a material wealth, in substance, in something outside of yourself that is going to make you happy. That's illness. That's the source of disease. So if you play the law of attraction and you play it on that level, you're actually going to make yourself ill. You're ill in the seeking. Seeking, and never really finding. Whereas if you truly find the source and you're rooted in that, look at what Yeshua did on the level of form. I mean, he did some extraordinary things. That was like manifestation on steroids, like serious. Like, how do you raise the dead, heal the sick? He did it because he was so rooted in his true awareness that field of energy that then came through him was so powerful that it just did the things. And he said, not by my will, but by my Father's will. I do everything by my Father's will. So it's the source that's doing it. And then people tapped into that, and because they had more belief and faith than they have now, in these days, they didn't have scientific materialist paradigm and modern medical science to tell them these things weren't possible. But they believed. The field influenced them. They believed. They got into the field and they healed. because that it was the field of pure formless awareness, of perfect love, that was doing the healing. So I don't think Yeshua even, he just held that awareness, and then it just kind of happened. And he might have been directed to like hold someone, or he would have got guidance. But it's the field that's healing, and people immerse so strongly in that field, and then the body changes because the shift internally in the mind then leads to the change on the level of form. And so then, if you're really rooted in pure formless awareness, that is a world-changing energy. I mean, extraordinary things can really happen, going way beyond law of attraction. Oh, I, separate self, am now going to attract this because I think I need it. It's like way, way beyond that. So I am the true self. I am the pure formless awareness of perfect love. And that I am presence is going to speak and act and think through me and for me in this world. I become the avatar, the Christ presence in the world, and that is now doing its work in the world through me. However that looks, I have no will of my own, so I don't want anything. I don't need anything. I'm just letting that guide me moment by moment. This was the enlightened state of being that Yeshua and other masters like the Buddha and Lao Tzu, they were able to stay in the state and go, it's okay, I'm just in the presence and it's directing me moment by moment. And I don't need to desire anything because it's just showing up moment by moment. Whatever I need is showing up moment by moment. So that's the essence of the flow state, which is the same as the miracle. Living in that state of flow is the miraculous state. Goes way, way beyond the law of attraction. It's like the law of attraction is just like entry level, the starting point for a much deeper, more profound transformation that changes who you are. See, law of attraction is basically saying, well, I'll become a better false self. I think I'm somewhat lacking, so if I get this and I do this and I track this, then I'll feel better about myself, and so now my self-image is boosted and I feel a little bit expanded. But a better version of a false self isn't really going to help you.
No.
In fact, it's taking you deeper into the separation, because now that false self seems to have worked, so you're now more attached to it. Oh, look, it's given you all the stuff that you attracted. So now it becomes harder to let go of it.
Well, all you hear is to feel good and be happy and share that and be that, So yeah, a lot of people do fall for it. I'm just aware of the time now, Johnny, because it's about 10 to 3.
Yeah. Okay. So shall we go into a little meditation to finish the lesson?
It's up to you, unless you want to finish another chapter. I don't mind going through that if you want. It's really up to you.
We're not going to finish this in 10 minutes. We've still got.
No, we're not.
Still got. Hang on, wrong one. What is it? I think it's 13.
And what are we on?
14. We've just finished number 7, I think. 8. Where are we? Repeat perfect love's identity. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
we just finished number 7. So I'll take you into the meditation now.
Okie doke.
So we can actually practice this. Okay. All right. So just making yourself comfortable, sitting your feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and take a nice deep breath in through the nose, so noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle. You draw the energy up the spine to your heart center. Put one hand on your heart to connect with your heart space. And draw the energy up into the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale. just scan your mind. So notice any thoughts, any emotions, any related sensations in the body going on for you, particularly anything that feels at all negative, limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. And bring today's idea to mind, that awakening of the world depends on me. And so we find our peace. Just going to accept the true function you really have. And exhale to let go of all these negative thoughts and emotions. Just blowing them away with the breeze of your breath. So the nothingness they really are. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And just rest here in the still, calm, quiet peace. Peace of God, it's been called. Peace of God, the peace of perfect love, that passes all understanding. In this peace, you accept the function, pure formless awareness of perfect love has given you. All illusions rest upon the weird belief that we can make another for ourselves. Our self-made roles are shifting, and they seem to change from mourner to ecstatic bliss of love and loving. Could laugh or weep and greet the day with welcome or with tears. Our very being seems to change, to experience 1,000 shifts in mood. Our emotions raise us high indeed, or dash us to the ground in hopelessness. So if any of those shifts and changes are going through your mind right now, just again breathe in, deep slow inhale. Imagine you breathing in the light, true awareness, the light of your source. There's nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just merge with the pure formless awareness of perfect love. You are that extension of pure formless awareness of perfect love. And so all shift and change, all unstable self-images must be false. Can you call it extension of perfect love if it's unstable? Subject to change, fluctuating and vacillating all the time. So this presence that is changeless shares its attributes with its creation, with its extension. So feel that presence sharing its awareness with you now. Breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind. Look at all the images that seem to have made. Let them just blow across your mind like windswept leaves. Maybe seemingly form a pattern for an instant, but then break apart and group again, scamper off. Let them all go, blow them away with the breeze of your breath. Blow away the leaves or mirages. Imagine a mirage seen above a desert. rising from the dust. It seems to be real, but it's not. It's an illusion. And sink into the peace of pure formless awareness. It lies beyond these images. These insubstantial images will go. Leave your mind unclouded and serene. Accept the function given you. Images you make give rise only to conflicting goals. Impermanent and vague, uncertain and ambiguous. Who could be constant in his efforts or direct his energies and concentrated drive towards goals like these? Functions which the world esteems are so uncertain that they change 10 times an hour, they're most secure. Yeshua is just exaggerating to make the point that none of the worldly functions that rest on time change can really give us anything. What hope of gain can rest on goals like these, he says. Have a goal for the impermanence. So let it all go. Blow it all away, the breeze of your breath, and sink inwards to the peace of God. Passes all understanding, and inner feeling in you. Surrender into this peace. Certain as the sun's return each morning to dispel the night, truly given function stands out clear and wholly unambiguous. It's to be this peace. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Breathe, relax, be still. Surrender into the stillness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, and be still. Sink into the deep stillness. There's no doubt about the validity of this presence. It comes from one who knows no error. His voice is certain of its messages. They cannot change nor be in conflict. All of them point to one goal, the one you can attain. Right now you can attain that. So surrender into it. Your plan may be impossible. Pure formless awareness of perfect love's plan can never fail, because it is its source. And so if it asks you to do a thing, asks a thing of you which seems impossible, remember who it is that asks and who would make denial. And then consider this, which is more likely to be right? The voice that speaks from the creator of all things, the beingness behind all things, translated, He knows all things exactly as they are, or a distorted image of yourself. Bewildered, confused, inconsistent, and unsure of everything. Do not let its voice direct you. Hear instead a certain voice which tells you of a function given you by your source, which remembers you and urges that you now remember it. So remember it now. This gentle voice is calling you from the known to the unknowing. It would comfort you, although it knows no sorrow. It would make a restitution, though it is complete, a gift to you, although it knows that you have everything already. It has thoughts which answer every need its extension perceives. Although its extension sees them not, perceives them, does not perceive them. For love must give, and what is given in its name takes on the form most useful in a world of form. These are the forms which never can deceive. They come from formlessness itself, pure formless awareness itself. Letting go, forgiveness is an earthly form of love, which, as it is in the state of pure formless awareness, has no form. And what is needed here is given here as it is needed. In this form, you can fulfill your function even here. Although what love will mean to you when formlessness has been restored to you is greater still. Awakening of the world depends on you. You can forgive, let go. Such is your function here. So, very simple equation. Letting go equals awakening, equals salvation. And this will bring you the peace that you seek. Peace of God, the peace of pure formless awareness. Is the truth. So sink into that peace now. Breathe it into every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every fiber of your being is in the peace of pure formless awareness. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to think about, to experience. Just surrender into the peace of God. It's being called peace of pure formless awareness. To translate that surpasses all understanding. Sink inwards to this peace. Do not let any false self-images, whatever form, delay you. Let them all go. Blow them away with the breeze of your breath. And rest in peace for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. And if any thoughts seem to arise to disturb your peace, just observe them, breathe into them. Just observe them casually, like leaves blowing in the wind, shifting and changing, no substance, just a random collection. Let them go, blow them away with the breeze of your breath. To the nothingness they really are. Sink into the peace beyond them. Another minute or two of deep silence. Experience the awakening to your true self. This lesson points to right now for the next couple of minutes of deep silence. So just gently coming back into an awareness of the body and the breath. The senses and the world might have slipped in a very deep state of peace. So you just bring yourself up from the depths by focusing attention on the body senses. And then on the count of three, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing stomach rise and the chest rise, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Scan your mind, notice any thoughts, emotions, and related sensations in the body going on. And if there's anything that's not holy, that's not pure formless awareness, perfect love, then just let it go like leaves just drifting by. Breathe it all out, pull the lower stomach into the spine. On the count of 2, notice the weight of the body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling with your hands and touching. Maybe there's a subtle flow of air on your skin. Notice as you breathe in again what that air smells like.
Notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm and surrendered state of mind where there's no judgment. Simply observe without judgment. Perceive without judgment is to be in your true awareness. So take this awareness with you, carry it with you into the rest of the afternoon and evening, on into the rest of your week. Practice today's lesson frequently. She recommends every hour. Just bring it to mind even for a few moments. Awakening of the world depends on me. It's just a pointer to your own inner state. Use a breath break. Since your 5-minute breath break, or the instructions for doing it in less than a minute. Use whichever forms work for you to top you up, this energy, presence of awakening, and remind you that this is your only function here. Awakening is your only function. So now on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around in this very calm, peaceful state, observing those objects in the room around you without judgment. So notice that it doesn't really matter what you're looking at. Just randomly look at an object for a few seconds and move on, look at something else, whatever it happens to be. And you notice in the state that the underlying awareness, this peaceful awareness, is there no matter what you look at. So you start to teach your mind that this awareness is the truth of itself. It's beyond form. It's not reliant on form for any kind of existence. It's not requiring anything to happen on the level of form. It's just pure formless awareness of perfect love, experiencing itself in your own mind. And that is the awakened or enlightened state. So hopefully this lesson's meditation has helped you to experience some of. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and the session. So thank you, Susie. Hope you enjoyed that.
Yes, I really did. Thank you so much, Bono. It's really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I guess I'll see you next week sometime.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Namaste.
Bye.
Bye for now.